It was a day like any other. You put on your headphones and you listened to something, trying to get to sleep, something that was much too difficult for what it was, yet everybody expected it of you. Not only to sleep, but to accomplish things, none of which seemed right in your eyes. It was different. This time, you had found something. For when you closed your eyes, everything changed by the time they opened again. In the blink of an eye, you were here. A place so different from when you had laid your head down. Waking up, cascades of color dancing through the prismatic windows surrounded you. The floor, an ebony color, shiny, glossy almost. And to your left, a door. To your right, a bookshelf. Everything seemed far too different to be normal, yet it was comforting somehow. I know this must be quite surprising that you're not where you used to be, but you can trust in the fact that you're safe, at least for now. Wouldn't you say that's something to speak of? And besides, you did escape from the monotony of normal life. So what comes next, you might be asking? Well, after plunging yourself through the door cautiously, trying not to make a sound, it opens up into an even stranger expanse, as if that room you had been sleeping on, so different than your own, had never existed to begin with. As if everything that you had come to understand in this brief time here was not there. You almost wish you could have read the books to get some kind of clue, but then it opens up to you something familiar, almost too familiar. You can see this place, some sign of it being in the future. You might even say it's a place different, perhaps long after the future of what you could imagine your own ending up as. Even then, it's lonely, empty, beautiful, but stoic. The ruins of what seemed to have been replaced by the new and exciting things yet to come. Still in production, in the distance you can see it. A city, speckled with lights, dazzling beyond your wildest dreams, as if the whole world was magic itself. But it wasn't magic. This was different. You could feel the tinge of adventure shoot down your spine. Though, being in such a foreign place, it must be scary as well, don't you think? Well, you did your best and managed to go towards it, but it seemed no matter how fast or far you went, no matter how many exhausted breaths or shaky steps, you couldn't seem to find which way. It didn't get closer, so how would you get there? Your struggles ended up being one rather like a hamster on its wheel, feeling as though you're running in place. It gave the mirage of such a feat as well, the buildings growing in size, but the distance seeming not to change in the slightest. You were moving. You could swear you were, but wasn't this all just a dream? Perhaps that was holding you back. Your perception that everything you were experiencing now was different in some way. That no matter which way you went, you would always end up with that city dazzling in the distance. Was this a purgatory of your own making, a dream or nightmare? You couldn't place it. But even still, you couldn't give up either, because behind you seemed anything but welcoming in comparison to the beautiful lights and the signs of life just out of your reach, frustratingly so. After running for what seemed like hours, the time faded towards night as the sun glowed in a different, more pale light than what you were used to. It was intense right before dusk. You could feel it, that this place might not be safe, and those lingering feelings dancing across your brain, taunting you of what ifs. What ifs were always something scary, but it wasn't the time nor the place. If it really was a dream, why waste it? You must see what's at that city. Something was drawing you towards it. Was it your loneliness, curiosity? It could have been anything. But something drew you closer and closer still, until nightfall. The city being the only beacon of light and hope. The darkness around you becoming fearful. Sounds like broken twigs in a forest, making your mind dance with possibilities in what would be a descent into madness. That was the ultimatum you came up with. But even still, there was more to it. More that you could do. You couldn't give up now. You were desperate. But it was okay. Because a voice called out. What was that voice like?